Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You are at the location, the spot, the place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. And today we are going to be speaking to our guest, Michele Wilcox. Michele is all about self-care based in upwelling with the Tara approach. What is the TARA approach? I'm fascinated, and I'm so glad to have her here. Tell us a little bit about you, Michele, and how you show up in the world. Welcome.
Oh, hi. Glad to see you. Glad to meet you and your community, the Brains
That's
community.
right.
I'm a practitioner and teacher of the Tara approach, which is a way of healing, awakening, becoming more who you are. And TARA stands for Tools for Awakening, Resources, and Awareness.
Okay, wait, let me slow down so I can make my notes because I want to be a good student. So
Okay.
it's tools for
Awakening,
awakening,
resources, and
resources.
awareness.
Okay.
It's a fusion of an ancient Japanese healing art, the art of compassion, Jinshin, with put together by Dr. Stephanie Mines, and along with the knowledge of neuroscience, neuropsychology, embryology, how we form, and how we're still forming, and how we're never done. So whatever's happened, whatever condition we're in, it's never too late to continue healing and evolving. So it's an evolving practice and helps evolve you. It's something you can do for yourself, your family, and community with simple hands-on practices. And I also share with people a journey, a creative journey that they're in charge of to go back to tuning in. And the whole thing's about listening and tuning into yourself better and better, including
Right.
your body and your sensations, because a lot of wisdom's here that we haven't noticed yet. And
Or
when we
we,
listen,
or we overlook. Um,
or we overlook, we've been trained to overlook. We're
exactly.
trained actually to stay up here, aren't we?
Well, but also there's a fear factor, and I always bring that into the awareness, into the consciousness, because now the buzzword is woke, especially in the African American community.
Mhm.
And that is being awakened, that is being conscious to the present. You have been awoken to a situation. And that can be revolutionary for some people. It can be traumatizing for some people because they don't know what they don't know. So,
Right.
as you gently take people through this process, first, I'm sure that there's an intake because you got to figure out what it is. Secondly, there's got to be a goal setting because where do they want to go? What do they want to uncover? They just don't want a mosh posh of magic. They want it to be purposeful and useful. Then I'm sure that there's an implementation. Then there's a strategy, and then there's a recap that they'll be able to use these tools. Tell us a little bit more about Tara.
Well, the Tara approach for the resolution of shock and trauma was designed just for that. The healing art, the ancient healing art, uh, is from a Taoist view, an Asian view of being part of nature and nature in us. You know, the five elements are at play in us. And so we are able to tap into our own deeper nature and also call upon the great web of life we're part of in this healing to rebalance. Things get skewed and out of balance when we're in overwhelming experiences, you know, trauma, shock. And uh, these days, with the COVID and climate change and floods and fires, people are realizing, oh, it's not just that person over there who, you know, was traumatized or in shock, or that country over there. It's happening everywhere. So we, all us humans, have to find and prepare ourselves for how to deal with these things. And so the hands-on somatic wisdom that we can tune into and help calm when we're upset and excited,
Right.
or bring up, go into freeze. There, every nervous system's different. Some people go into fight or flight, and some are
That's me.
always active, active, active. Right. So
That's
that's a lot
me.
of
Okay.
adrenaline.
Do I fight or do I pull out my wings? I don't
Yeah.
know sometimes. But it's all in how you process it too.
Well, and some people
Give
go into
yourself
freeze. That's what I was going to say. Some people
right.
go
And
into,
sometimes, people, you have to stop and actually pause and take a breath and say, you know what?
yeah.
How much do I want to pour into this? What is going to be the value in going off on this person or cussing at this person or, giving the people, somebody blows their horn at you and giving them the finger? Really, what is the result? And that's important. I noticed that you have been promoting on your website a book called The Secret of Resilience. It's the bounce back. Tell
That's
us a little bit about that.
that's written by Dr. Stephanie Mines, the founder of the TAR approach. And she, as a scientist and as a poet, describes how she learned the secret of resilience, which in essence is the TAR approach has been designed to help you do that. And the resilience isn't only bouncing back to where you were, but it's beyond. It helps you evolve and be
Mm,
more of who you are now and what you need to be now, because it's not the same today as it was 20 years ago
yeah,
or yesterday or last hour. So,
exactly.
how are you to be present and appropriate now? So, there are ways of after our nervous system's been hijacked by kind of, or our brains have been hijacked by
Right,
an
right.
event, we're in shock, we're in trauma. Ways of coming out of it can be very simple. um, for instance, someone with PTSD who may be triggered, activated by remembering something. If you hold the index finger, and all of us can do this, if some shocking event happens to you and you find yourself, like last year, I had a slip off of a chair. I was changing a light bulb and stepping down off my kitchen table, and I ended up going down, and uh, my ACL tore, and then I fractured my tibia and my wrist. So I could feel my body going into shock. Suddenly, I had these little fractures, and so I held this finger.
The
I,
index
and
finger.
and the reason it helps, you don't have to rub it, you don't have to tap, just hold it, and you are helping bring back the activity of the kidney and bladder meridian, which run along this finger, and where fear is lodges. It's like you need to unfreeze
Right.
from that shutdown, and it helps. And so, for instance, when that happened to me, I already knew I could hold this finger.
Mm,
There are other hands-on applications and places on the body that we know correlate to certain energy pathways that
mhm.
affect us, our attitudes and our organs and our endocrine system. So it's an ancient, millennia old system, and that's been updated for today. So
Looks like a
holding
very
this,
powerful, it looks like a very powerful tool that you can also teach children how to self,
yes, yes.
how to
So
soothe
children,
themselves.
children at school, something happens, a bully or something, they can hold this finger. It's another way to do it is to hold it down with the thumb, with the so
Get the
and
okay symbol. You see that, brains? It's
yeah,
okay.
and oh, a-okay. And wouldn't you know, this is the Buddha symbol for fearlessness.
Oh,
So
okay.
when fear happens or shock, we can come out of it. We can come out of it. We can. Here's another one I'd like to share with you. So this will be an experiential way of touching into some of the sites that so you can just right now experience it. So, right now with COVID and people unexpectedly becoming ill, or dying, events happening, not only lifetimes but fires, floods, like poor in Maui recently, and so when we hold right here on either side of the heart, these sites right here, it helps us sequence overwhelming emotion. It
Okay,
helps
so all right,
help.
for you like me that have big breasts, find your heart.
Okay, well, I could say exactly if you find that collarbone and then
Okay,
in that little space under there, and then you go down one, two, three ribs, and now you're in between those ribs.
okay.
But except it doesn't have to be a pinpoint. You know, you can hold it with your palm and you've got it. It's a 4-inch radius. So
Okay.
you can hold it with your fingertips if you want to be delicate and whatever feels good to you and how you can sense in, because you will start feeling the energy from your body streaming into your fingertips,
Mm.
knowing that you're activating this biomagnetic energy. You're a mammal.
When I
You're
touch
part of,
it myself, I really feel a little bit more intensity in the heartbeat.
okay. You
But
feel the
also,
heartbeat.
brains, what you have to learn to do is you have to be able to manage and control the breathing because the breath is integral in everything that you do.
Well, as you're tuning in with this, if you allow that nice belly breathing, you know, where in your inhale and the belly's expanding a little bit, making room for the lungs to fill, and allow that out breath to be a little longer than the in breath. It helps you calm it down and focus in. And now from
Guys, it
here,
felt good.
touch in right under the collarbones in that soft tissue. So this site helps you feel, well, it opens the wings of your heart.
Hmm.
Continuing to breathe, feel the soles of your feet rooting, being sucking up the nourishment of Mama Earth, who's always
Mhm.
here, got us,
Exactly.
always supporting us.
Grounding. A lot of people don't either practice it or believe it, but I always have to touch the earth. I was doing my yoga practice with, socks on or with my tennis shoes on. It wasn't the same. It wasn't the same on actually being barefoot on the mat,
That's
grounding, or when I
right.
go to the beach, grounding. All of those electromagnetic fields, they just kind of drain out of your body and they go into the sand.
And I'll invite you from here to just feel the outline of your arms.
Mm-hmm.
So we started here, okay, and then we go here and then here. And these help you feel, well, you've got the outline of your body, don't you? Your boundaries. So this helps with boundaries. And it helps focus, helps you. And then when you come and bring your hands together, that helps integrate all aspects of you. It's like gathering everything into a condensed, central, aligned with your purpose that's come into this body and is rooted in the earth and the heavens. Here you are with a soulful purpose. This helps you remember. And you can make this gesture. So, this is a gesture of prayer, isn't it? In so many traditions. Surprise,
Correct.
surprise.
Correct.
So, and I invite you to just go from hands back up to and heart back to hands, remembering that connection you have. So anything you're creating and extending from your heart in what you're making, in who you're touching, your heart is in it. And you can
Mm-hmm.
be more and more conscious of this.
Right.
And
And
as you're
integral.
aligned and bringing awareness back to your heart, you can keep touching in with yourself and remembering this. This is just one I call the start with the heart. It's a
Well,
very simple
it's very
gesture.
soothing. Um, you know, brains again. Follow the instructions. Take the breath, but love yourself. It's also like giving yourself a big hug. Um,
Well, there's a site here that when you give yourself a hug, right on, and another way to do it is this way,
okay.
where your fingertips are as if you're, in the wintertime we warm our fingertips. So your thumbs are on that site that help you feel wholeness,
Okay.
right under the collarbone. Your palms are on that site that brings you the calm in the storm, the emotional calm. And then you've got this site that starts, it helps self-love and self-acceptance and starts the neurochemistry of love, oxytocin.
Oh, absolutely. So, Michele,
Sometimes I go
tell
to
us,
sleep like this.
dial back for us. Tell me a little bit about your experience and how you found yourself um, teaching this practice and working with people in this space.
I was always interested in a lot of different worldviews from a very young age, seeing things, how people in one country or culture would have a certain way of seeing themselves and feeling themselves in the world and in relationship to all there is, the heavens and Creator. And I grew up Catholic in the Midwest of the United States, but uh, was always very much attracted to the Asian views, the Indian and Buddhist, and they made a lot of sense to me. To the bigger cycles of life incorporated, and all the beings of all the many levels were incorporated, and through the years, I was interested also in holistic health. And as a mother, my daughters are in their 30s now. But as a mother, I was incorporating more and more of that, also in the way they were educated. So, kind of a whole child view in a friend's school. And I was actually a preschool teacher for a while too there, to be part of their world and helping build a community around those values of really tuning into the individual child
Right.
instead of
And so
that
many
sort
people,
of bottom with, excuse me.
no, and so many people get it confused. Spirituality versus religion. They can go hand in hand. And I don't know, I'm not a one dimensional individual. I'm very inclusive because that's how you learn. I don't think that our creator, I call him God, I don't believe that our creator just made one flower in the garden. He made many
Mm-hmm.
and develops them a different way, fertilizes them maybe a different way, cultivates their
Right.
soil in a different way. And we are flowers in that garden. And so
I
we,
like that.
yes,
Flowers in the garden of life.
yeah. So we need to be aware and awaken to what other people are doing in the world. Again, you grew up with a religious base, but it made more sense to you when you started dealing with philosophical points of view and more spiritual and the energy. Right? But just know that there's something bigger and better than yourself. That's half the battle right there because, we think that we're the end all be all.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me
So
ask you.
I did a lot of exploration. I got a degree in philosophy, and so that helped my kind of mystical and curiosity and the philosophical ways of seeing and being. And then I taught yoga for a while as well. So I'm interested in how to rebalance, how to stay, yoga is a practice. It's also the goal, the unification, the oneness. Well, that interrelatedness, you know, touching into our deeper nature is a way that I discovered as I was exploring holistic ways of Tibetan acupressure I was training in. And then I heard about the Tara approach. And Tara is also the Tibetan goddess of love and wisdom, and I was already attracted to her and heard about the Tara approach, and I had to find out. And
You had a girl crush on a goddess.
yeah,
I
yeah.
That's all right.
So the thing is that God or goddess is not separate from you. The natural world, that's all that's created. That's the point, that we're all those energies are inside us, the energy of life that we can bring forward. And that's what the Tara approach does, with specific, even scientific methods of that work, that have been shown for millennia to work. The correlations with nature and how to, for instance, if you feel ungrounded, you can hold your thumb. You were talking about grounding with your feet on the earth. You can also hold your thumb. It's soothing and it helps us feel supported and safe and out of worry. Isn't that something? Babies know that when they suck their thumb, they'll be soothed. Well, our bodies know. The thing is, because of the culture and violent, patriarchal, cut you off from the body, knowing that we've
Right.
been most of us have grown up in, we need to get back to the body and the body's wisdom. So, I was thinking about it. You're talking about brains. So I was thinking of an acronym, just like Tara is an acronym. Brains, what can brains be an acronym for? So it's like bodies, wisdom, uh, uh, um, body remembers an innate needs solution. Okay, BRAINS, body remembers an innate needs solution. And in the rediscovery journey that I share with you, that I is part of the practice of the TAR approach, that you make a journey back, paying attention to the sensations your body's bringing forward. It helps you know exactly where your whole being wants to go, what wants to be
Mm.
looked at. If we don't make up our mind and say we're going to do this and make something happen, it's not that at all. It's a very relaxed, integrative. What you're ready for comes up, and your body brings it forward. And as you attend to it, and you recognize and remember, even for instance, when you were in utero, you can remember something that happened, you were also influenced by your mother and the lineages before that, and you were washed in those neurohormones. Might have been one of depression, might have been one of fear, might have been one of joy. Everyone had a
Mine
different.
was, I think mine was joy.
Oh, that's great.
I
That's
think mine
great.
was joy. I've had a very,
You
very
are a
good life.
bouncy person.
Yeah, well, I've had a good life, and I don't take that for granted. I have never experienced. Now, I'm sure there's been some trauma there. Nobody goes 61
Mm,
years and not
That's
hit a
that's it.
bump in the
That's
road.
it.
But for
That's
the
it.
most
We've
part,
all been there.
I haven't had like the top three. I haven't had the sexual assault. I haven't had the violence. I haven't had the drugs. So I think that I've dodged a bullet. But I have empathy for those who go through that. I have empathy for those who want to be healed from that.
Well, I'm somebody who had memories just 20 years ago. I'm in my 60s, and just 20 years ago, I had memories of childhood abuse that I had not consciously
Wow.
remembered. It wasn't in my head kind of
Right.
memory, but the body remembers, and the memories were brought forward. It's like, what the heck do I do with this?
Now,
Well, the
let me
core
stop
approach
you right.
helps.
Let me stop you right there. When that awakening happens, there's a new realization. There's another chapter in the book. You've got to get through that. I've had several guests on my show that work with people with PTSD, and they only want to take you up to a certain point. They don't want you to have to relive this over and over and over again. They want you to get to a certain point in your memory, in your trauma, in your experience that allows you to reframe it.
Yeah.
Does the Tara effect work with the subconscious mind and work with neurolinguistic programming to reshift, redesign, and help us reframe some of the tragedies that's happened in our life? Because
It
you're not going
definitely.
to forget it. I mean, it makes you who you are, but so that it's not so
Exactly.
impactful and insightful when it comes up and you're triggered.
The TAR approach definitely helps you reframe, and the subconscious, the body basically brings forward what's subconscious. Is if you tune into your body, and that's what this when the self-care is, when you're holding these certain sites, like I'm holding this site right here, like right under my little ribs, and these
Mm-hmm.
boundaries here. This helps me actually energetically to feel boundary and to protect myself, to protect my body, and to have a greater awareness, discernment about what's nourishing for me and what's not. And I'm able to say no. So that just doing this and tuning into yourself, you have this experience and you're building this resilience for yourself. It's just an example of one of the practices, that you can do. But that reframing happens when you remember and see really what happened, not someone's story of what happened to you, but what really happened, at a certain time, maybe even when you were in utero. I've had those memories, and the very first rediscovery journey I had, remembering the shock that I was in and the reason for it, and repatterning it by giving myself, identifying what was my need then, what was missing, what do you really need? What did you need that was missing? And then creating that for myself, even though it's an imaginary creation, the body, the subconscious and the mind does not know the difference. You're creating it for yourself. And I
Right.
came out of that rediscovery, which was, you know, laying on a table, imagining, remembering, and repatterning, reframing, restoring, you might say. And I came out of that, and I came home back to Louisville, and a massage therapist and another person I knew who were working on me said, "Your back is straighter," because I have scoliosis. Your
Mm.
back is straighter. So from that remembrance, my whole being, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, came back into better balance. Even the physical spine, in my
Wow.
midline, right?
Well,
That can
it's
happen.
about the alignment, you know.
Alignment.
It's about the alignment, and so I get that. I totally get it.
I like to call it
Michelle,
all alignment. Alignment with the all, the one that brings us here, and continuing to come back, come back, come back, and stand the
so let's
ground.
ask you some fun questions about who you are, what you do, and some fun things. So now, are people in Kentucky receptive to this? And I say this not in judgment, as an inquisitive inquiry, because that's the part of the Bible Belt, you know.
Yeah, yeah. So
And
some are there.
their religious doctrine may look at this as a little hoo-hoo. They may look at this and not receive it as it is meant to give. What would you say to that individual that is a little bit skeptical or scared?
Well, I wouldn't try to convince them of anything. I mean, that does usually doesn't get anywhere. But I share experiences with people, not trying to convince them, but to let them see for themselves if it's possible for them, if they're willing to be curious and do something simple. Like,
And this is similar, not the same, as emotional freedom technique. It is a placement of certain pressure points in your body that create a reaction. But when you do more of the EFT, you're questioning yourself at the same time. You're
the
saying,
tapping,
well,
yeah.
right, and
Mm-hmm.
am I worthy? Yes, I'm worthy. What is the cause of my dysfunction or
Yeah.
unhappiness? I get that. But this is a more relaxed type of breathing type of thing where you're more engaged in your subconscious instead of questioning your subconscious. Am I getting that correct?
Yes, it's not, I mean, it's a loving presence. I mean, the thing that's usually missing for us in any overwhelm is someone there to have seen and heard us and comforted us and helped us through. So we can give that to ourselves now. We can be, you know, the caregiver who wasn't perfect back then. We can be the perfect mother for ourselves now, give ourselves what is needed now, remother ourselves or recare for ourselves in ways now as our consciousness expands and our heartful intention expands. So we can do this now. We don't have to stay stuck in the patterns and we don't have to force it. It's a matter of tuning into ourselves. What do I need? Honey, what do you need right now? Like give myself this hug, right?
Right, exactly. It's loving
What
on
do you
yourself.
need?
It's
And
speaking
then
that self-love language, which is very, very
mhm.
powerful. So back to the fun questions. If you were an appliance in the kitchen, what appliance would you be, Michele Wilcox?
Appliance. I would say, I would say, oh, like my Berkey water filter. It's not plugged in, but it's it's detoxing the pollutants so that I can have clearer flow.
That's beautiful.
That's resilience.
If you were a flower in the garden, what flower would you be?
Flower. I really like the sunflower
Mm,
with all the beautiful pattern of seeds. Yeah. Yeah.
yep,
I've grown
absolutely.
some mammoth ones that I just looked up to, a couple years ago. It's like, wow. It's amazing to see the birds eating the seeds too,
If you
finding
could
the
pick a planet, what planet would you be from?
Venus. And
Really?
Venus, Venus rules my astrological chart, the planet of love.
Okay, I get
Yeah.
it. I'd
Yeah.
be probably from Jupiter because I like all the rings.
Oh, okay. Jupiter.
Exactly, Jupiter. If you had three magical wishes, anything, you can have anything, what would they be?
Three magical wishes. Uh, I wish everyone in the world would wake up to how much love is here for us in our interconnected being. And I wish that we can keep sharing this awareness and act in ways that are nurturing for ourselves and for our planet, which is always nurturing us. She's always nurturing us.
Okay. Your second wish?
Stay curious.
Okay. And your third wish?
Oh, that's another wish. Um, to always have in this curiosity, nourishing surprises, eye-opening surprises that help me see more clearly.
Well, you're very wonderful. You're very philosophical. You're very caring. And it appears that you have built great resilience against things. Please tell my brains how to get in contact with you, Michele, so that they can work with you. They can learn more in depth techniques and the philosophy behind Tara.
Sure, sure. Yeah, it's very experiential. I see people on Zoom as well, and I have been teaching on Zoom as well as in person. And my website is www.resourceforhealth.us. That's FOR health, not the numeral. Resourceforhealth.us. I'm also on Facebook, Michele Wilcox, and Instagram, Michele Wilcox 333. And I enjoy, if you were wishing to find out more about Tara, you can contact me at jemswilcox at AOL.com. JEMSWILCOX at AOL.com. And you can start an inquiry. We could meet up and see if this is something that would be for you. It's quite enlivening. It's
I
quite
believe it.
enlivening to find out ways of helping our immune system now. As the climate is changing and we're all getting ready to have more things happening as that we all need to be ready for. How to boost our immune system, how to come out of shock. These are simple, hands-on applications we can do for ourselves and our community and prepare, regenerate our own energy and be regenerative practitioners sharing this with others.
Well, I think that it's absolutely amazing. It's gentle, it's soft, it's caring, it's compassionate, and you have an
Very
amazing
feminine.
facilitator. So, Brains, I need you to go in, like, love, share, and subscribe to the channel, please. Like, love, share, and subscribe. I'm going to put all Michele's information at the back part of this information in the interview. In addition to that, we are going to put it down in the show notes because I want you to be more centered, more enlightened, more in tune with the universe, with yourself, with the people that you deal with. And you can be a beacon of light like Michele for others when it comes to resilience. Thank you so much, Michele. I really appreciate you being here with me on the edge.
Thanks, April. I enjoyed talking with you.
All right. Bye, Brains.